What is up, guys? Welcome to GamersRaid. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to build an advanced boat in Stormworks Build and Rescue. So I'm on a little base boat here that I built, so we're going to take that to the workshop. So this is what it looks like. I like to do this sort of thing, build a base of the boat, but nothing sort of in it. So if you want to mess around with stuff, then you have everything set up already. So controls and everything's there. It's a little open cab boat. So this is going to be, I'm not going to show you how to actually build the boat, because if I need to show you how to lay the blocks and everything to build the boat, then you should probably play in basic. This is going to show you how to do sort of plumbing and that sort of thing for engines and that sort of thing, and air and fuel and all of that good stuff. There we go. Right, so first thing we're going to need is an engine. Right, we're going to rotate that around, so we're going to place it somewhere around there. That is beautiful, sort of towards the rear of the boat a little bit. Okay, next thing we're going to need is a fuel tank. So we're going to go for a medium fuel tank. I'm going to go green on that, just because that's the color I make my fuel lines, so I know which lines are which. And we're also going to need a battery. So we're going to just grab a small battery, because it's a small boat, not much to charge on it. I'm not going to do lights or anything like that right now. And yeah, while we're here, we can throw a 90-degree on that. And power is going to come out of the top of the engine over here. So when you hover over it, you'll see it says small engine power. So we're going to put a T-junction on that. The reason I'm putting a T-junction, but I only have one propeller, is I'm going to stick a clutch in there and a generator. So a small generator, because we need something to actually charge the battery with, but I don't want to charge it all the time, or at least not on max all the time. So I put a clutch in front of it, because then otherwise it just takes away from engine power. So that is done. Right, so next thing we're going to do is we're probably going to stick a clutch on the power as well, but I'm not going to do gearboxes. If you want to see gearboxes and things, I do have a video out on gearboxes. Go check that out. I explain how gearboxes and clutches work together and how you should configure them. Right, so I think the first thing we're going to do here is have a look at what's down here. So that's coolant in, coolant out. So we could probably do a radiator at the back there. Let's start with maybe air. Let's go with air first. So I'm going to make air, let's go yellow on air. Generally I do like bluish color. We could do blue as well. So air, I think the best thing is going to be take this up as high as I can, as quickly as I can, to kind of get it out the way. That's going to be a bit too high, so let's go 90. Yeah, I sort of want to get this airline out of the way, so it's not going to interfere with anything else. And I want to do the same sort of thing with exhaust as well. So let's go with that. Exhaust is going to be on this side, so let's go grayish color for that, and we'll go straight up with exhaust. Do that. That should be in line. Beautiful. And we'll bring that to there and cut out that piece and cut out that piece, because that's going to need to go outside of the boat. So now we can pop our 90 on there, if I can get this thing to work. There we go. It's just easier to do the cutout before you actually place the last pipe. Beautiful. So we can see that, and we can't see that, so I cut out the wrong one. That's fine. There we go. Problem solved. I think it's that color. There we go. So we can see those two. So that is beautiful, but we can't leave it open and just bring a pipe out like that, because the boat will freaking leak and then it'll just sink, and then it's not a boat. So we're going to go pipe straight enclosed. So we're going to pop one over there and one over there, and then you can sort of get fancy with this sort of thing. You can maybe do a bend and put it into the side wall or whatever you want to do. That's your choice. You can put it wherever you want. Generally, I put exhaust and air intake on top of the roof if I've got a closed cabin, but this is open. But we're just going to keep it very, very simple. So let's go port. We want a fluid port, so that's going to be our air intake fluid port. And we want an exhaust as well, so a fluid exhaust. It says fluid, but that's not actually a fluid exhaust. That works fine for your normal exhaust gases and that sort of thing. Right, so that doesn't look all that fancy, but I'm not here to do fancy. I'm here to show you how things work. Right, so that is plumbed in. That's air and exhaust done. Next thing we're going to look at is fuel. So let's get our fuel line. I'm going to make that green. You don't need to color code everything. I just do it because if you're doing like problem solving or you're doing modifications to your boat, then it's much easier to figure out what the hell's going on with your plumbing and to trace lines and things if you need to tap into things. Let's say I want to put in more fuel tanks or something like that, then I just know tap into that line. I don't have to sort of follow things around and do that sort of thing. Here it doesn't really make sense because you'll know that's the fuel line, but when things get complicated, it really does make sense, and it is worth taking the time to do color coding. Right, so coolant out, that's going to be a hot line. So let's go coolant out. I actually wanted to make that red. There we go, coolant out, and coolant in is going to be the cold line. So another thing we need to run is going to be our engine power. So let's see what's the best way of getting that out here. I think we'll do that. Drop a 90 on that, bring it down. Drop a 90 again on that. That'll bring us underneath that pipe, which should work perfectly. Bring it out to there. Go turn on that. Straight. Bring it down. Down. And bend it back in line so that will connect straight up with our propeller. Beautiful. So that is, I'm actually happy with that. That's kind of a clean design. It does help if you sort of make things as clean as you possibly can, but it's not like life or death sort of thing. It just makes things easier in the long run. So I'm going to turn on symmetry just to see where the center of the boat is. So it's that one. We're going to take that out, turn symmetry off, and we're going to look for a radiator because we need to keep this baby cool. There we go. We'll swing that around like so. Cut a hole in there. And again, we're going to use the solid blocks, a straight pipe enclosed. We'll just change the color of that to match the floor so it doesn't look all weird. Beautiful. Right, so with pipes, which side was hot? So that side is hot. It doesn't matter which side you put this in, it'll work fine as long as you don't sort of cross the pipes over so it doesn't flow into one side and out the other side. But you can have hot on that side or cold on that side, doesn't really matter. Beautiful. So I'm very happy with that. We'll stick a pipe on there just to know what color it is. And yeah, I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna run this very straight on the floor, and that should work beautifully. So it's quite simple. As soon as you've done like one or two boats or helicopters or whatever you're building, it is actually fairly simple. The whole thing, you just need to, well, look at what you're doing and see what the game's actually telling you. Because if you like hover something over there, it'll tell you that is coolant in. So which means cold needs to go in there and hot is going to come out after the engine's heated it up. So it's really like a puzzle. That's basically exactly what it is. Just connecting everything together. But you can get very creative with these sort of things. Like usually on these small boats, I go air cooling with a radiator. But if you go for bigger boats, you can start introducing things like pumps and run fluid ports like this one, which we're using as an airport, not like a flight airport, like a air induction. You can use that on the side of the boat for it to draw water into, run it through the engine and out the other side with another port. So you can cool your engines that way with pumps and things if you want to. But we're going to keep it very basic. Right, so that actually looks super neat. I'm very happy with that. And obviously here we can get more fancy and maybe put it into the side there if we want to, or do something fancy, but we're not going to do that. Right, so that is all the plumbing done. So where I think most people get stuck is with the logics. So the first thing we're going to do is, if we go out of that, you'll see I have a breaker in here. So I like to use breakers to turn electronics on and off. So what we need to do is go into electric, and the breaker is going to have two settings. So electric A and electric B. So the breaker is going to connect to battery, breaker A, and that's the only thing that'll connect to breaker A. Then the battery obviously needs to connect to the small generator, so the generator can actually charge the battery when we want it to, and everything else goes to electric B, which means it'll only work if you turn the breaker on. So we're just going to link everything up, and you can hold control. If you didn't know that, you can hold control and you don't have to drag the line every time. You just hold it and click it and it works. It saves a huge amount of time instead of dragging every line individually. So that is electric's done. Electric is fairly simple. Right, so this is all the dots and things, and people get confused. But there's no reason to get confused. It's actually very straightforward. So we're going to use the pilot seat. So A and D, I want to turn the boat with. So I'm going to link that to the rudder. Simple. W and S, I want that to basically manage my clutch. Actually, I didn't put a clutch in for the power. So we'll put a clutch in there. Just cut 2 slots, say clutch, change that to orange, and stick that in there. There's a lot of space, so no problem. Quick fix. Beautiful. Okay, back to logics. Does the clutch need power? Yes, it does. Right, so we're going to go back to electric B and just drag a line to the clutch, so the clutch will actually work properly. Back to data. So yes, W and S, I want that to manage my clutch pressure on the boat, on the actual rudder. Not the rudder, the prop. There we go. So up and down, I want that to manage this clutch over here, which is going to be for the generator for the battery. So basically an alternator. And left and right, we're not going to use on this setup. Throttle, we've got a throttle over there. That's going to control the throttle of the engine itself. And we've got a speed sensor at the front here, so that's a linear speed sensor. That's going to go to my digital display. A and D, that is left and right. W and S, so that is the engine clutch. So that's battery charge state. That is battery clutch, engine clutch. Right, so I'm going to connect it to that little dial over there. I'm looking for up and down. I think it's that one. Up and down, that's going to be my battery clutch, so I can see what state that is in. And battery charge, I'm just going to connect straight to the little battery, so that'll show me the charge state. And over here, I've got a little dial, which is going to show me my fuel level, so connect that to the fuel tank. And the push button, so this is a push button, not a toggle button. That's going to go to the engine to actually start the engine. And that is basically it. So everything should work now. You can do inputs like map that to key number 1, so you can actually operate the throttle with your 1 and 2 keys or whatever you want that to be set at. And you can connect like backlights and that sort of thing for your lights. So when you're driving at night, your dials and everything will light up. So you can dial that to a switch, but we're not going to do that right now. Okay, so let's test this baby and see if it actually works. So we're going to hit spawn, jump. This guy's got a massive jump. So yeah, that obviously looks a bit odd, but anyway, it works. So battery charge says it's full, battery clutch, engine clutch, excuse me. Fuel says it's full. So I should actually show you that very, very quickly. So go into select and then click on your dial. So I put that minimum value 0, max value 1, and you can name it there whatever you want. And with that, I don't mess around. I just call it speed. And with fuel, so I've got my max value set at 185 because I know the medium fuel tank is about 183 liters of fuel, or units of fuel. And if you've got multiple fuel tanks, the easiest way is put that on like, I don't know, 5,000 and spawn your boat. Or if you're playing in extreme advanced mode where you need to fill up your boat yourself with fuel nozzles and that sort of thing, then fill your boat to maximum capacity and see what value it actually displays, and that'll tell you the capacity of your fuel tanks. So then you come into here and just put whatever it is there. So if it's like 1,200, then just put it in there. So because it only display what's in the tank, and if it's full, then that's your value. So yeah, if you want to see me do like a video to explain how fuel ports and things work so you can actually fuel up your boat, let me know. I think that is a next level of advance, so we won't get into that just yet, at least not in this video. But if you want to see that and you are stuck, let me know. I'll make a video and explain how all of that works. Might actually just use the same boats and show you how all of that works. Right, so let's actually test this thing. So battery charge is fine, engine clutch is on 0. So we're gonna put in a little bit of we need to turn the brake on, so that's a good thing. See there, nothing is actually working, none of the buttons are working. Turn the breaker on and then things are working, so that is beautiful. So fuel is good, throttle, all of the clutches are down. Hold the button and the engine has started. So that is limiting a little bit, but it's fine. As soon as we start using W and we add some clutch, you can hear the revs drop and off we go. So we can actually add more into there and go full power on the clutch. I like to regulate my speed with the clutch rather than the engine, the throttle power, because you can actually save a lot of fuel doing that. Right, so we can see battery charge is going down. So I'm going to use the up arrow and you can see we're increasing the battery clutch. And let's go all the way up and you can see the battery state is increasing. So if we leave it like halfway, somewhere around there, that should, maybe even a quarter, that should just keep the battery nice and charged, but not take too much power away from the engine. And other than that, I mean, the boat is a bit unstable when at speed, but it's a good little boat. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this little thing. This thing will get missions done. And it can basically turn on a dime. It's maybe a bit too sharp. Could do with some fins or something, stabilizing fins at the bottom, because it does swerve, as you can see. Well, it sways sort of left to right when at speed with the little waves. But yeah, I mean, you'll get from point A to B. You'll maybe be a little bit seasick, but you'll get there. But anyway, on bigger boats, they tend to be a lot more stable, obviously. This is just a little boat that I made to sort of indicate how to do things. And obviously our speed sensor is working beautifully. I think that displays a meter per second, if I remember correctly. So we're gonna take clutch out and we're gonna turn the throttle down and we can take clutch out. So this clutch will actually go into the minus, but that just means 0. It doesn't actually stop at 0. I don't know why. It's a little bit annoying. I would like for it to stop at 0, but anyway, that is how everything works. So we can turn the brake off and that'll just shut down all electronics. Fuel 146, so we've used a little bit of fuel, about 40 liters. And yeah, that is basically it. So I hope this tutorial actually helped you guys out if you're trying to get into the advanced side of things. That is a very basic tutorial of how things works, and this sort of thing works with helicopters and all of that as well. So if you would like to see how to do fluid ports and that sort of thing, like I said, let me know and I can do a video on that showing you guys to do that. But it's actually very simple. You just put in a attachment point for a fuel line to fill it up and link that into your fuel line system. Can't really remember exactly what the thing is called, but if someone asks in the comments, I'll just check it and let you know what the thing is called, and you just put it in a T-junction into your fuel line system. And yeah, I fell in the water. But anyway, we're going to leave it there for today, guys. Hopefully this video wasn't too long and you guys don't get bored and everything's just straight to the point. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe and share this with your friends or whoever. If you know someone is struggling with this sort of thing, let them know about it or share it or do what you do. Just whatever. Whatever you feel like doing, I'm happy. And yeah, thanks for watching. And I will see you all next time.